welcome back to another video, and today's video is going to be a little bit different. So, I haven't filmed in here in quite a little bit of time. Those of you who are new to this channel, this is what I call the Closet Studio, because as you guys can see off to your right a little bit, I have clothes hanging up and stuff. This is my closet, basically. The reason sometimes I film in here is it's a bit better sound-wise. The lighting's horrible in here, I know. But the sound is a lot better in here because it isn't as echoey as if I were to say, open this door and talk out into the room. So that's why I film in here a little bit from time to time, is to, you know, give a bit better sound quality. So today's video is going to be interesting. It's going to be about me, and it's sort of automotive related still. I know that's been the trend the last couple of weeks, has been automotive stuff. Like I said, I just haven't had the drive to film gaming videos lately, so that's kind of what's up. But can't speak today. What's been up with that? But anyway, today we're going to be talking about things I'd love to do with cars. Now, being a car guy, you kind of have a lot of things you want to do with cars, and I've said a ton of my favorite things I want to do in the past, like, you know, buying a Miata, buying a 240, you know, kind of like running around with those, but more specifically, motorsports I want to do. I've wanted to do motorsports since I was very young. I used to want to do NASCAR when I was growing up until I realized how boring it was to me. I don't really find any sort of interest in it. I mean, you just go left, and it's like, where's the fun in that? That's just my opinion, of course, so that's why I decided to abandon that idea when I was younger. I was maybe about 14, and I was like, screw that. Basically some stuff I want to do, most notably autocross. Autocross is number one on my hit list of things I really want to do with cars. I want to buy a second car eventually for autocross. I can't decide yet because, like I've said in the past, I want to 5.0 swap the truck or supercharge the V6. That'll be in its own video next week. I can't decide what I want to do because part of me is like, I want to go ahead and, you know, supercharge the V6, but all at the same time, I want to put a 5.0 Windsor in there. So for the 5.0 Windsor swap, it would be a manual trans. So I would have to buy a 89 to 93 or 87 to 93 Mustang. Preferably the 92, 93 model years, because those were the fuel injected Windsors instead of the carbureted Windsors from the 80s. And to do that, like I said, I'd have to buy the Mustang. Problem is, I feel like that if I brought a Mustang into the house with the V8s, I would get too attached to it in its current state, and I would never swap it. I would keep the 5.0 in the Mustang, probably, and build the Mustang. And then there would be another dilemma of having two cars. I don't work, so obviously I don't make any sort of change to, you know, afford insurance on two cars. In fact, my parents pay the insurance on the truck. So that's part of the reason why I drive so slow. In case you've ever seen me in real life driving, I'm very slow. That's the entire reason for it, is my parents pay the insurance on this thing, and I don't want to get on the bad side. So that's my main problem. It's not that I can't get a job, it's that I just don't have the drive to right now, because, I mean, I'm a full-time student, so it's really hard for me to find time to get a job, especially on Mondays and Wednesdays where I am in school and from 9 a.m. or 9:30 a.m. to about 3:30 in the afternoon. I mean, what time is that going to get me to work? And I'm the type, I'm usually in bed asleep by 11, so, I mean, it's just a mess, and I don't really feel comfortable trying to throw a job in between that, because it's kind of difficult for me. So that's why I haven't done that, but I do make my money basically doing chores around the house. My parents pay me for that most of the time. So that's kind of where I get the money to get parts from, so. Basically, what I'm going to be doing with that is, if I got another car, I'd more than likely shoot for a Fox Body Mustang GT right now. Of course, my other option, because I'd probably be staying in a really low budget price, would be a Miata. So those are my kind of cars that I'd be looking for. As much as I would love to go out and buy a 350Z, a G35, G37, you know, stuff like that, there are really expensive cars for the budget. I'm probably going to have to buy a second car. And on top of that, I'm going to have to probably find somewhere to store it, because the lease on this house, if you don't know, we rent this house, it's kind of like you have to have, you're only allowed to have 4 cars, which we're already sitting at. My brother's going to get a car within the next year or two himself. So that'll be our next problem, is him having a car. We're already going to have to fight with the landlord over getting a 5th car here for my brother. I can only imagine having a 5th or 6th car with my second car. So that's kind of the main problem there. It would stop me this entire time, because back when I had $500 a few months ago, which I used to modify the truck, I originally was planning on buying a Civic and having that as like a little bit of an autocross car, something that's better on gas that I can drive in emergencies. And the only thing is, I think it was an automatic Civic, so it would have been really slow. I mean, they're already pretty slow, but I mean, that would have made it even slower. So that obviously didn't work out. I was really close too. My mom was down for the idea, but much like many of my other car issues, my dad was just like, no. That's also the reason why I don't have a more interesting car, like a G35, which was actually supposed to be my first car. Like before the Kia even happened, I was supposed to get a G35 myself. So that kind of sucked, and I really wish I could have gotten that. But yes, that's kind of what happened there. I was just down to want to get a second car, and that's kind of what I'm shooting for, just because I want to do autocross. Now, the next sport I would love to do in motorsports is drift. Drift is a lot more specific for me because I'd want to get a beater for that. I wouldn't want to get some high-profile car, say like a really clean 240 or a really clean 350Z, and run at a drift event. Because if I crash it, I'm going to feel bad. I'm going to be mad at myself for it, even though it was probably a mistake and we probably couldn't control it as much. Because I mean, when you are drifting, you're basically having like minimal control. You're barely able to control a car, unless you're really good at steering. When you're an amateur drifter, you're more likely to crash. I mean, you've seen Chris Fix's videos. He went off track a lot during his first two events. Not bashing the guy by any means. He's really improved. That's kind of the main thing is I don't want to do drift as much because if I got a car built for drift, it'd be really expensive one because I'd have to buy I'd have to hire someone to weld the diff because I don't know how to weld and we don't have a welder here. I'd have to buy special springs and have custom made coilovers because lowering springs wouldn't really help in that situation. Coilovers is probably the best way to go to build a drift car so you can adjust the spring rate and stuff like that. And I'd have to find a car that would be better for it. I'd have to get a roll cage. I'd have to get, my one thing that I'm worried about with drift cars, because like I said, I would buy a beater before I would do anything, is reliability in the engine. Because when you drift, you push your engine a lot harder than you would in autocross. Autocross, the fastest you usually get up to is 60. So it's more like, it's a lot harder for the car when you're drifting, and you're banging off a rev limiter in second gear going sideways. So that's my main problem. The third motorsport I would want to do is drag. Now this one I'm not really that interested in as much as I am drift and autocross because building a car to go in a straight line, it sounds cool. You can go really fast in a straight line, but it's like that's it. You run a quarter mile, you're done. There's not really anything else besides that to me, and I'm the type where I'd love to have like a more involved motorsport like autocross or drift. So that's kind of what I go through there. Now time attack, I would say is my next one. Time attack it's kind of on that same level as autocross, the things I really want to do, but it's a lot more expensive because it's a lot more aero, be a lot more power into the hood of the car. With autocross, having as much power as you can is good, but you don't want to go too crazy with it because you'll barely be able to go anywhere. You tap the gas, you're at 60, and you're already slamming in the cones. In time attack, you have that open track. You get a full race course, such as the Grid Life Global Time Attack, whatever they call it, at Road Atlanta every year. And those guys have some serious money to the hood of their cars that I can't do. And, building a car to the same specification they do is really expensive and really just hard for me because, like I said, it don't work. So that's kind of like my last place thing I want to do. So yeah, the cars I would pick out though because I'm probably gonna go to autocross first would be a 87 to 93 Mustang, a 98 or 99 to 2004 Mustang. Both of those would be GTs because the V6 options in both of those cars suck. It's the same story with the early S197s in 2005 to 2010 where they had the 4.0, which is the same engine my truck has, and I would not want to get another car with the 4.0 because it's a bit complicated of a motor. My dinner's just arrived, so I guess that's my cue. So thank you guys again for watching this video. I'll have a new video out next week on whether what I should do, V6 supercharged or 5.0 Windsor 5-speed. Thank you guys again for watching. I'll see you guys next time.